morning, everyone. Oh shit, I hope it's Friday. Happy Friday, I think it's Friday. So today I'm going to talk about truth. How and why, or why and how, to speak it. There's a certain way, excuse me, I was drinking a lot of water. There's a certain way to speak the truth to get the best impact, to get the beneficial impact of truth. Because if you do it incorrectly, there's only one way to do the correct thing. So if you do it incorrectly, you will not get the results that you're looking for, or that are due you by the universe, based on a universe created in love. So, let me close my sun, whatever it's called. So, speaking truth. First, let me say this. There's this thing that people call personal truth. I think that is something that we should probably stop doing as a whole, because when we say personal truth, we believe it to be absolute, and our personal truth is not absolute. It is part of our experience. And what I mean by that is, I can say that someone is an asshole, and someone would say, well, that's your personal truth. Well, that's your experience. That's how you feel. So yes, express how you feel, but understand that's just how you feel. The other person isn't an asshole, because that word really isn't a real thing. It's something that we have created. Anything that has a negative connotation to it, we have created. Therefore, it is false. But it means something to us, and we have to recognize that. Since we created what we see today, how we communicate, the words that we use to communicate, since we have created that, and we live in a world, we live in a system that we have created using all of this, we have to live by it until we can learn to live without it and create a different system, create a different world. But being as we have created what we have created, that's what we have to use. So it's okay to acknowledge how you feel. This is actually very important, to acknowledge how you feel. If you're angry, then you must express that anger. You must express that anger, meaning you must recognize it. If you don't express it, you cannot recognize it. Now, when it comes to truth, like if you feel someone is an asshole, then you can say that, but understand when you do that, because it is a falsehood, you will be penalized for that falsehood. Even though you believe it to be true, and that's how you feel, you can acknowledge how you feel, but you don't have to take it out on the person you feel is the asshole. Now, you can say that to yourself, you can say it aloud by yourself, but to actually say it to someone else, that's being unloving to the other person. And that's how you create karma for yourself, even though you are speaking what you feel to be your truth. And it is your truth in terms of how you feel. It is true, this is how you feel. So you can look at it as being, yes, this is how I feel. It's true, this is how I feel, but it's not the truth. You are experiencing a falsehood. A falsehood of what? A falsehood, if you look at it in terms, or contrast it with the universe that's created in love. It's not created in love, therefore it is a falsehood. So you are experiencing a falsehood. That is true. You are. But it's not the truth. And so when we're looking at truth, we have to understand what it is. We have to understand what's false. We have to understand what truth is, and what we are feeling is true, because it is an emotional feeling that we are experiencing real time. That is happening. It is part of your current reality. We must acknowledge these things. I'm not saying don't acknowledge them, but we have to understand where to place these things so that we're not misguided, so that we don't misguide ourselves into a place that's darker than where we are. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because, you know, there's a friend of mine, you know, who's going through, well, actually, seems like all the people I know are going through something. They're going through something, one way or another. You know, it's important to speak the truth no matter what. No matter what. Even if it's a true feeling that you are feeling. If you're feeling something, express that. You don't have to be mean about it, and that's another thing. We don't have to be degrading towards another to express ourselves. We do things like that because we want to try to drive the message home. That's really the main reason why we express ourselves, because we want other people to actually see how we are feeling, to acknowledge that we are in pain. This is why people are so forceful. And that actually is attached to not feeling validated growing up. And this is why people are so forceful as an adult, is because they know if they're just calm and they're speaking whatever truth that they have, they're ignored. Nobody pays attention to them, especially as a child. As a child, most kids are treated as if they're insignificant. Their words are nothing. Oh, go play, go do this, go do that. That's very common. Very, very common. So, we develop this lack of self-worth, and we don't feel that our words are valid. We don't feel that our words mean anything. So this is why we have to use words that capture the attention of others. This is why we say, oh, you're an effing asshole. Well, because we want to grab their attention. We want them to look and understand that what you're doing is harming me. It's hurting me. And if you don't understand this, you'll continue to harm yourself. But in the process, you continue to harm yourself in addition to harming the other person. And this is what we want to get away from. We want to try to heal. But in order to heal, we can't hurt ourselves at the same time, because it's really no healing being done. It's like we're expressing the truth, but we're also harming ourselves. And then when things happen, we're like, I'm an honest person, but bad shit keeps happening to me. Well, it's how you're expressing the truth. When we speak words, other people are hearing the words. But what we're feeling inside is something completely different. So yeah, we can say, like, if a woman was raped or a man was raped or molested or whatever it is, if something bad happened, and we want to say to the perpetrator or to the adults who didn't want to listen, when we want to say, it's all your fault, you're a bad parent, you're a bad mother, and you're just a bitch, and you're an asshole, and you're all these different things. Understand that you're speaking your feelings, but you have so much anger within you, and that's what's driving the verbiage that is coming out of your mouth. It's the anger that's coming out. But understand, if there's anger coming out, you are also suppressing the truth, which means you're not being truthful. And so we may be speaking the words, but we're not actually being truthful. Because anytime we are angry, that means we are suppressing the pain. And that is the truth. The truth is you are in pain. The truth is we are in pain. And anytime we spew any type of anger, there is a suppression of pain despite the words you are using. And this is why it's important to understand this. When we speak the truth, it must be from the soul. It must be from that place. Understand this. If you are speaking the truth and your soul is present, meaning you are acknowledging the reason why you're speaking the truth, the pain, because that's the real reason. That is the real reason why you even have a truth to speak. Because of the pain. You're not speaking truth because of the anger. You're speaking the truth because of the pain. So if that is present, if you are in touch with that feeling as you speak, 9 times out of 10 you're going to speak with tears. You're going to speak with sadness. You're going to speak feeling that pain because you're accessing it. But if you're speaking truth and you're angry, you're blocking it. And you're not helping yourself and you're not helping the other person. Because they can't see the truth of their doing. They can't see the truth of the results, the truth of their actions. When you show your pain, you are showing the truth. And this is the thing. Sometimes you don't even have to speak the words, because if you're feeling the pain in the moment while you're talking to the other person, they will see it. And the thing is, emotions are something that don't need words to convey. You can see it. Even if you're watching a talk show, if you're watching a movie, if you're watching something and you see someone who is crying because of their pain, you already know what it's about. You can fill in the blanks. And you actually, if you watch movies, you'll see this a great deal. Alright, it cut out again. I forgot to fix my camera. So I had to go look at the video to find out where it left off. So I left off at if you watch a movie and you see a scene where someone is crying and there aren't any words spoken, you can fill in the blanks. You can see it. You, on a soul level, already understand what is going on. Now, granted, there's been many different scenes in that movie that led you up to being able to figure that out. But if you are responsible for someone else's pain, you already know because you've experienced it. So you've technically created the scenes for it. You didn't have to watch a movie a bunch of scenes in a movie in order to figure it out. You created it, so you know very well why the person is crying. You can feel the pain. You can read it with your soul. You don't need them to speak. This is the power of truth. This is why it's so important to have your words be in alignment with your soul. Don't just speak the words. Look, check this out. When we have an argument with someone, or when you're having an argument with someone, and you're yelling, and you're saying, you know what, you've hurt me, and this is what you've done to me, and, you know, you've treated me badly, and you're yelling, and you're angry. Do you understand the reason why they don't hear you is because they're reading your soul. They're reading the emotions of your soul. They're reading your denial. That's what your anger is. Though you are speaking the truth of the pain you have experienced by their actions, what trumps those words are the emotions and the feelings that you were putting out. And those are feelings and emotions of anger, or feelings of anger. Emotions of anger. That's what they're reading. That's why I say it's so important to be in alignment with your words. And do it for the right reason. You know, people use, people can use the truth in an evil way. They can say the truth to someone in order to hurt them. And a lot of people do that because that kind of stuff backs them off, because nobody wants to feel emotional pain. So this is why we use the truth to hurt someone else. But understand, when you do that, you're not living in truth. You're speaking about the true events that have taken place. You're speaking about the truth of how you feel, but your emotions, your soul is not in alignment with that. And so you have to pay for that. Because how are you speaking truth but not living in truth? Living in truth is living in love. So if you're yelling at someone, you're not living in truth because you're not living in love. You're just speaking about the true events. That's it. The events that have actually taken place. That's all you're doing, is recapping what has happened. But your emotions are not in alignment. You're not in alignment with what? Not in alignment with love. Therefore, it's not in alignment with truth. And we have to understand the difference. So if you're not ready to speak the truth in harmony with love, why do it? You're just going to create more karma for yourself. Both ways you're going to experience pain. You're going to experience pain if you hold it in, and you're going to experience pain if you use the truth in a way to hurt, in a manner that's going to negatively affect someone, meaning they're going to hurt someone in an unloving way. We can't do that. What in your mind would make you think that that's justified if someone has done something to you to hurt you, and you're using something to hurt someone else? Like, you're doing the same thing, you're just using a different mean. That's it. That's it. Like, if someone tells your truth, or I should say tells something true about you, and you get angry. If someone speaks, this is what I'm saying, if someone speaks the truth and you get angry, what does that mean? Why are you angry if they're speaking the truth? Well, because you don't want the truth out. You want to conceal the truth. And that is your choice. It's a wrong one. It's an unloving one, because you're living outside of harmony with love. Nevertheless, it is your choice. You have the right to do that. But understand the reason why you are angry because of it is because you're not in harmony with truth, which is why you didn't want it spoken by anyone else. Your desire to conceal, to be unloving, to hide, is more important to you than speaking the truth. This is why people get angry. And the other people, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, speak of your truth, whatever that is. You can't deny the truth. It's the truth. But you attempt to, and this is why you get angry. This is why you get all locked up inside. So whatever the
There's a 6-minute slowdown on California 110 at 3 miles. You are still on the best route.
I'm not sure how that happened. I thought I muted my... Everything's going... all kinds of technical difficulties. Okay, so... you know... yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, you get locked up inside because you're choosing to conceal something, which means you're not willing to live in truth. And so when the truth is spoken, and understand that if the universe delivers this to you, there's a reason. The universe, God's laws, are trying to correct every single soul on the planet. And what that means is God's laws, the universe, whatever you want to call it, they are working to expose all unloving things that are within your soul. So if you are trying to conceal something because you are afraid, because of fear, that means you're not living in truth. And so of course the universe is going to bring someone to expose that which you were trying to conceal and hide, so that it's not in you anymore, so that your soul is relieved of that impurity, of that untruth that you hold. So of course that's going to happen. Of course that's going to be your law of attraction. We're living in a universe where it's trying to do something and we're trying to do something else. The universe has already been constructed. There are laws, there are structures in place, there's a foundation, there's a system that is operating, and it was in operation before we were here, and it is perfect. It is perfect because it is working in alignment with God's creations, which were perfect when they were created, meaning our souls were perfect when they were created. And the universe is doing everything in its power to get that back to perfection, to get that soul back into perfection, back into its original state. That's what the universe is doing. And if you understand this, if you truly know this on a soul level, then you won't buck the system. You won't try to fight the system because you know the system is trying to work in your favor. And if you understand that, you will also allow it to do what it needs to do. You will take the messages, you will take the lessons, you will use them, you will apply them. You will allow yourself to be humble enough to change so that you are in alignment with the energy of the universe, which is love, which is truth, which is perfection. If you're in alignment with that and you become that, you benefit from it. You become better. You become a better soul, which means you have a better life experience. This is how it works. This is how it works. This is all how it works. Just accept it. I know people don't want to, but that goes back to, you know, the last video I made, I think, about beliefs. You have to let go of these beliefs. So if you believe, if you have a belief, let's just take a Christian, you know, as an example. If you're a Christian and you believe that Jesus is coming to change and save you so that your life changes, that means you don't have to do anything. So everything that I just said, being humble enough to change, be humble enough to accept the truth, you don't have to, because you already feel you know the truth. You already have a pre-existing belief that's defining your life as it is today. All your pain, all of your suffering is due to There I was talking again and it cut off. So it seems it ended. It seems it ended when I was talking about it's due to your beliefs. Your change or your inability to change is based on your ability to, it's based on beliefs that you have. And the example that I had used was, let's take Christianity. You know, for those who believe that Jesus is going to come and change or fix and change and allow you to change because Jesus is going to take all these things away, you sit there doing nothing. You don't change. You don't take any action. You don't take any responsibility or have any accountability for yourself and the things that you've done. And so, being as you don't have this, what happens is you just sit there with your arms crossed and you do nothing, waiting. And the thing is, you have the power. You have the actual power to change. You're the only one who does. You have been granted power over your soul. You define what's in it. You define the darkness that's in it. You define the light that's within it. You define everything. It is up to you. You have been given this power. We all have. We all have. And if we accept a belief that we don't have the power and somebody else does, how can you expect your life to change? And so that means your existence in this physical life and in the spirit world will remain the same and get darker, because you're going to, whatever darkness you have, you're going to work from that darkness, and you're going to continue to create as you have been creating. And if you have a lot of pain, if you have a lot of struggle, if you have a lot of strife, it's based on all the things that are within your soul in this moment. You are creating your reality based on the contents that are currently within your soul. And if you continue to wait for someone else to fix it for you, you're going to continue to create as you have been. And it's going to get worse. And you're going to continue to make wrong decisions. And you're going to create karma on top of the karma that you already have. And then you're going to create karma on top of the new karma. And the new karma. And the new karma. And before you know it, you're in, oh my God, you're just in a mess. And if you look around, you can see the results of that. You can see the results of that. Look at the people who have all these accidents. You know, they have all this sickness and illness and disease. Or, you know, they're living on the street. They're fighting with everybody. They're arguing with everyone. They have no peace. They're on guard with they're on guard with everybody. This may be you. This may be you. I don't know who's listening to this, but this may be you. And if this is happening, it's because you are creating from a dark place. And that dark place is your soul. And if you don't acknowledge that it's dark, if you don't acknowledge the pain that's within it that's causing it to be dark, and you don't acknowledge that you have the power to change it, well, then you're just going to continue living in the same way. And you can damn God, you can be mad at Jesus, you can wait on Jesus, you can pray to Mary, pray to Allah. You can do all these things, and trust me, your prayers are heard, and the messages are sent to you. That is happening. But your beliefs that you have prevent you from seeing it, because you won't believe the words that are being delivered to you by someone else, by the Creator. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go. Everybody's trying to crisscross to make you jump. Look, you got this person, you got this person, you got this person, you got all this. Look at this. Oh Lord Jesus, help him now, help him. What are you doing? This one's nervous. I don't know. Old man in his Cadillac. Anyway, I'm gonna look at this camera too. That's too much. Just watching the road, speed limit cameras. Get it together, Bradley. Get it together. So yeah, anyway, you know, it's your beliefs that prevent you from seeing the truth. You know, if someone has condemned you your entire life, and now you're afraid to be on your own, it's a belief that you have that you're not going to make it. It's not true that you're not going to make it. It's just a belief you have. And of course, if it's a belief that's at a soul level, you will manifest that. Because that's what you have within your soul to manifest. I shouldn't have gotten over here, but a lot of big rigs. Oh well, whatever. Whatever. See, I wanted to be over there. That's alright. Alright, we fighting with the big rigs. That's alright, you could have gotten over. I mean, you know, do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Because I'm gonna do what I gotta do. What is this? Oh, hi, Marsha. I got a message from Marsha. Marsha! So, what was I saying? I need my H2 water. I'm waiting for this machine to come in. I need some mental clarity, some focus. So, oh, see? Ooh. Now, I'm glad that wasn't me. A little Corolla got between two big rigs. So yeah, speaking of your truth, be truthful, but be loving in doing it. That's the point. Be loving in doing it. Be loving in doing it. Every time you speak the truth, be loving. Do it in a loving manner. Honor yourself. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. Your truth, the truth, your true experience must be for you, not anyone else. It must be for yourself. If it's for yourself, everyone else will benefit from it. That's the power you have. You speak truth, feel the truth, and everyone else will benefit from it. Because there won't be any negative anything. You won't have any hostility, you won't have any anger present that locks you up, that creates karma for yourself because you're hurting yourself and you're hurting another person. This is what we have to be mindful of. If you're living with someone and they are an abusive person, just speak your truth. Speak your truth, in love. I'm not saying don't be honest. I'm just saying, speak it. It's okay. But don't be angry. That's not the truth. Anger isn't the truth. Anger is not the truth. That's the denial. And so that means you're speaking truth in denial, which means it's not truth. It's unloving. And unloving is what's true. Loving is what's true. We have to learn this. We have to learn this. You have to learn it. I already know it. Which is why I respond differently than I have been in the past. The other day, I think it was Wednesday, it was Wednesday, I think. I went to the mall. I was going to get something for someone, a gift, and this person loves tea. And I was like, I have this, I didn't tell them that I have, but I have this really cool little Tivana contraption where you put loose leaf tea in it, pour the hot water in it, and then you sit it on top of a cup and it just pours into the cup, right? So none of those infusers or diffusers, I don't know what they call it, a tea infuser, I think it is. How you put the tea in it in a little basket and you drop it in and you dunk it and you let it sit. Well, this is kind of different. Maybe I'll put a picture up to show you what I mean. And I thought that this person would love it. So I went to the mall and I'm looking, to see if they have it. I was going to call them and I couldn't find the number. And then come to find out the damn thing closed like 2 years ago. Tivana's no longer in business and I didn't even know it. So anyway, I'm sitting there on my phone trying to, figure this out, and that's where I found out that they weren't, in business anymore, and they were not in the mall, obviously, that I just pulled up to. So I'm looking for the thing, and I'm sitting there, and there are no cars beside me. I pulled into a spot where there was not a car on the left or the right of me. And so as I'm sitting there, a car pulled up on the right of me. They get out of their car and they go do their thing, and I'm sitting there on my phone trying to figure this out, because I needed to actually have it by today, which I don't. And then this car pulls up on the left side of me, and I turn around, and the lady looks at me, I look at her, and then I go back to my phone, and then she swings her door open and hits my car. And then she closes it real fast, as, like, oh my God, I guess it's a natural response, it's like, oh, let me close the door because I did something wrong. So I'm like looking at it, and these people the whole time wanted to deny that they hit my car. And at one point, she, after all this denying, and I'm recording it with my phone, right? I mean, I don't know what prompted me to do that. I'm not that type of person to just pull out my phone and start recording. But something just said, pull out my phone, and I just started recording the whole thing. Everything that was being said, everything that was being done. And she, us trying to figure out what to do. The first thing she said is, we have insurance. And I'm like, fine, great, we'll take care of it like that, whatever, So then she was like, so you're claiming that, she did this, and so they wanted to go into denial mode. They wanted to try to dismiss that they had even done anything. And then at one point, she said, it's your word against mine. Mind you, I'm recording all of this. And she's like, no, it's your word against mine. And I said, no, it's your word against evidence. And she's like, what evidence? And I'm like, well, the evidence that you proved when you opened the door to see if it touched, and it did touch. So you proved it yourself through your actions. And so we went through all that, and then the I think it was her mother or mother-in-law, one or the other, I don't know. She said, she said, we're honest guy. I think they were like Armenian or something. I don't know. There was some kind of something else. I don't know what the hell they were. But they were speaking a different language. And so she's like, we honest guy. And I'm thinking, and then the first thing I said was, you're a liar. And she said, I'm a liar? I said, yeah, you're a liar. If you were honest, you wouldn't have tried to deny it in the beginning. And I was calm. The only time I got excited is when they were trying to, at some point they were thinking of just leaving. And that's when I got, but I didn't raise my voice because I was angry. I raised my voice because of controlling the situation. I needed to drive, again, I needed to drive something home to catch them emotionally so they would stop whatever thought they were conjuring up in their mind to just bail. But it wasn't, well, I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, but how I handled it and how I was feeling on the inside was something completely different than, I guess the average person who would be dealing with a situation like that. But I was speaking the truth. When I called her a liar, like, I didn't mean anything mean by it. I just meant like, you're being dishonest. Like, you're lying. You're lying. Flat out, you're just lying. You're not honest. And the fact that you would even try to convince me proves again that you're not honest people. And that's the thing, is just speak the truth. Whatever it is, just speak it. But you don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to be rude about it. You just speak it. Whatever it is. If someone hurt you, then allow that to be. If someone hurt you, just allow that to be and just speak it. Say, you know what? You hurt me. You did this. This is the truth. No, you weren't loving. So, anyway, your truth. Be calm when you do it. Try to let go of any anger, or not even allow anger to come up. And a lot of times people get angry because they, like I said before, they know in the past that when they speak in a normal manner and they try to just express themselves normally, people dismiss them. And these people try to dismiss me. And I was very calm, and this is what was going on. And I knew this was my law of attraction, because I've had issues with being made to feel as if I didn't matter. And the whole time, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to downplay the situation, try to make me believe something that wasn't true, try to convince me of how they wanted to see it, which was nothing. Like it was no big deal. They even said it's no big deal. Like they tried their best to dismiss what I was saying and my concerns. They tried to dismiss my concerns and instill theirs in me to have me accept it. So whatever they were trying to doubt or deny, they were trying to get me to doubt as well. And now this, if you've heard any of my previous videos, this has been common in my life with women. And so I get two women who are dishonest, who try to lie, who try to cover up. And this is my whole life. Like, this is my experience with women. It just is. And because so many emotional injuries have been created from that, I get this as my law of attraction. Now, the scratch, oh gosh, I'll put a picture of it. It's not a big deal. It just matches all the other dings that everyone else has created when they open their door. That's not why I was bothered by this. I was bothered by this because they attempted to cover it up. They attempted to dismiss it. They were lying. They were trying to just be deceitful, devious people. And that's why I pushed it to the extent that I pushed it in terms of insurance and all that stuff. Because they didn't want to give it to me. So, but I stayed calm. And I was like, I'm not going to back down. I don't care what you say. This is what's going to happen. Because it's right. I was doing everything that was right. That was it. You caused damage, and the right thing to do is for you to pay for that damage. To be responsible for that damage. To be accountable for your actions. That's what needed to happen. Now, I was on the receiving end of that. So I had to ensure that I got what I deserved. And so that's why I had to stand my ground. I didn't yell at these ladies. I raised my voice when they were trying to do the little sneaky thing. But other than that, like, I was calm. And it, like I said, it really wasn't a big deal. In my mind, it wasn't a big deal. The only thing that really irritated me was the fact that they were trying to do what women have always tried to do in my life. But that was my law of attraction, and that's why it happened. That's why I didn't get a guy driver or a guy passenger. I got two females. And so they were there, and at some point they were trying to gang up on me. I just let them talk. I mean, I wasn't going to argue with them. Now, in the past, I would have argued with them. Oh yeah, I would have gotten upset. I would have probably gotten enraged. But I already knew what was going on. And while that was going on, I was able to see the fear that was within them. I was able to see the uncertainty, like, as this was all unraveling and transpiring, I could see that they were nervous. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know. And they were unsure. They were uncertain. That's why she kept trying to, I think she was calling her husband on the phone. She kept calling him. I think she called him like 3 or 4 times before she even made, and took an action. And everything that he said on the phone, she repeated to me. Like, okay, I'm going to give you, we're going to go to my body shop. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So he was actually, calling them shots on the phone, and she was executing what he was saying. Like, she couldn't even have any responsibility. She couldn't have a voice of her own, which is why it took so long, because she wasn't operating. He was operating. He was actually dictating to me what was going on, but it was being used, or she was being used to convey that. You see what I'm saying? And that in itself is a law of attraction thing for me to see. Like, women who have done what they've done is based on their interaction. Where do they get this from? What kind of interaction are they having with their with men that don't allow them to have a voice, that create this anger within them to harm others? A lot of the reasons why women are so mean and angry is because of their treatment by men. Like, women, I don't know what that noise is, but it's gonna quit right now. That was my law of attraction little signal that, hey, it's going to stop. Anyway, I'll stop right there. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So just, remember to speak your truth from your soul without any denial. So if you're trying to convey your truth to someone and you're in denial, you're going to be angry. Your voice is going to get elevated, and this is your sign for you to understand what's going on, like that you're in denial. And so if you can't speak to someone without being angry, understand it's because you don't feel that your words will be heard by the person otherwise. And so you need to feel about that. If you can't speak to someone without raising your voice, you have to feel about that. You have to ask yourself, I mean, really, that's a painful thing. Because what does that mean? That means that if you are trying to express yourself and you feel you can't do it without raising your voice, it means you're going to experience the same thing that you experienced when you were a child. And that's what you want to access. That's what you want to focus on. That's the whole point of this experience. But when you have denial, you get angry. Or when you get angry, you have denial. That's your proof right there. If you were truthful, if you were in truth and acknowledging your soul, and to do it in love, because love automatically exposes the pain. So if you just spoke your truth and they were dismissive of what you were saying, that tells you right there. Your response to that, like if you didn't get angry and someone was over talking you or talking over you, or they weren't listening to you, or they were dismissing your feelings or dismissing your words, that's exactly what was happening when you were a child. And this is another opportunity for you to release that, because you didn't do it when you were a child. Had you done it when you were a child, you wouldn't be experiencing it in the moment as an adult. That's why if you notice, if you just live in love, all things will be exposed. And all you have to do is just feel it. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. That's how easy the Creator has created this process. The reason why the process seems so hard is because we keep denying it. We keep wanting to use our mind to understand it. But the mind does not have the power to fix it. Only the soul does. Your mind is what you have created. The soul, the Creator has created it. And within that soul are many tools and many ways for it to correct itself. It's self-correcting. The soul is self-correcting. And if you live in the energy that the love was created in, which is love, it will self-correct itself. You will allow it to do what it can do. But if you keep using your mind, which you have created the mind. We have created our minds. Understand, when you're born, your first incarnation, when you were born, and this is where this new age bullshit just kind of fucks everybody up, because they believe they've been here 20, 30, 100 times, and it's not true. But if you look at it from the perspective of truth, this is your first incarnation. And when you were born, you had no mind created. None whatsoever. And so you started to develop your mind as you incarnated, as you were in gestation. You started having your first experiences of being aware of another soul, which was your mother. Being aware of the energy of the souls around you. This is the beginning of your mind. This is the beginning of your physical experience. This is the beginning of your experiences, period. So as you grow up, as you're born and you experience and you play with your friends and you have heartache and you have pain and you have joy and you have all these different experiences, you are creating something You are creating your mind. And you are using tools and absorbing new ways to handle things that have been handed to you by someone else who does not understand. And so you create this way of understanding life to be, and you try to live life by those ways, and they don't work, but you still try and try and try because you have only been taught to use your mind. You haven't been taught to use your soul because no one even told you what that was until recently. Until you probably started listening to my videos, until you started listening to someone else's videos. People didn't know anything about the soul, so they couldn't talk about it. So they couldn't incorporate it into daily life. But you're starting to understand it now. You're starting to hear it. I don't know about understanding it, but you're certainly starting to hear it. And you're using your mind to try to understand it. And most people can get it. I can get it intellectually. I can use my mind and get it. But there are times I have to check myself and I have to say, look, yes, you get it, but you also have to engage this aspect of you that you have not been engaging in, which is the soul. I have to incorporate the soul in my life. I can't just live using the contents that are within it unknowingly. I have to be aware of everything. Everything that I do is based on everything that's in my soul. And now that I'm barely learning this, I have to slowly implement it. I have to keep reminding myself because, 38 years or 30-something years of living from the mind, and now all of a sudden I have to incorporate this thing called the soul that I'm barely learning about that has been there the entire time. It's not going to happen overnight. But as long as you're learning about it, you have to use, because your mind is so dominant, you have to use your mind to remind yourself to engage the soul. This is something we have to do. We have to engage the soul. If we do not engage the soul, we will forever create how we have been creating our lives, our reality. Our experiences will be the same. And yes, you can use affirmations and you can go to all these motivational speakers and use your mind. And you can use your willpower because that's what it does. It allows you to use your willpower in a way that you have not used it before. But I guarantee you, your soul will always trump anything that you will ever create with your mind. Sure, you can go and use your mind and create a career for yourself and make lots of money. But I guarantee you that soul can come and just wipe it all away. Think about people who have created empires and lost it all. They've created millions and lost it all. Look at Steve Jobs, created billions of dollars, employed millions of people. And he lost. He died from cancer. You can't run away from it. Your soul will always be there to remind you because you are the soul. You just have to know what's in your soul. It's like having a house. You have to be aware of what's in your house. What have you shoved in that basement of yours? What have you shoved in that attic of yours? Well, sooner or later, it's going to come up or come tumbling down, one or the other. So when you're trying to live in truth, live in truth. It's not hard. It's probably the easiest thing to do, but you have to get the mind out of the way, or most importantly, you have to get the mind on board. Not out of the way, because you have to acknowledge your mind just as much as you have to acknowledge your soul. All right, everyone, my stomach's growling. So I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Remember this when you're interacting with people. If you're getting upset, take a step back and understand that you're in denial in the moment. You're in denial. And just calm it down. And feel the real reason. Feel the truth of why you're speaking your words. Allow your words to match your soul. And whatever response you have from that, whether it's acceptance or dismissal, allow that to be and feel about it. How do you feel about that? Do you feel good that you have expressed yourself calmly? Or do you feel sad because someone's dismissing you? Someone's discounting you? Someone's not acknowledging you? Someone's making you feel like you're not worth anything. Your words don't matter. Pay attention. The answers are there. They're always there. That's what the Creator does. It gives you the answers in everything that you do. All right, now, take care. Bye.